here. Welcome,
Yes,
guys.
sir.
We have with us Jarmany. We got Jay here today.
Bread Runner J.
And we got Abe as well.
Sir.
This is the second time I've done two people, but the first time I did it right. One time I did it three people, two mics. This is three people. We each got a mic this time. This will be awesome. You guys, what are you smoking right now? What are you smoking today?
Just some good kush. You feel me?
Just-
Not crazy. Ain't no dispensary. Hit a local plug.
Yeah.
Well, that's almost I could say on it. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. No need for a dispensary.
Yeah.
That's
I
almost like.
I love to hit them though. The dispensary.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
It's cool. Like they're just available now. You can just go wherever you please.
Yeah, and I like the idea of knowing where my bud cups from.
Yeah. But if it's someone you trust, you can feel pretty good about it.
True. But where do they get it? That's how I always look at it.
That's true. Because even if you trust them, doesn't matter where you get it from. You can get some crazy shit from anybody. But I feel like weed nowadays, especially with there being like there is dispensaries now. Who's gonna give you the wackest shit?
Yeah.
And if it's for a real cheap price, and you stay away anyway. So I feel like as long as you're an experienced buyer, and you're working with someone that you probably know, it's not gonna be fucked up anymore. The problem now is I know at least in Lowell, the cocaine.
Oh, okay.
That shit's crazy. I know someone died from fentanyl.
Or some was it a college party or something?
Something like that. I forget exactly what the details were, but pretty crazy stuff. Okay, yeah, interesting. That's a way to start. A little morbid. Let me do a little real life intro. Welcome to the DOD-Cast, everybody. We have Jay, we have Abe, and I need you guys to first subscribe. I need you guys to follow on Instagram. Not just me. We got Bread Runner Jay here too. So you gotta follow everybody here. What's your Instagram? You got one?
Yeah, it's OVO.abe.
OVO.
Yeah,
Oh, so you running with Drake?
type shit.
Okay.
You feel me?
All right. So did you like the album?
Not gonna lie, I ain't listened to it yet.
Yeah, I didn't get around to listen to it.
Neither
Yeah,
you. Okay, well that's okay. But you're OVO though.
Uh-huh.
So just next time he has a release, you need to be 12 a.m. You need to be up for the second it drops. I'm gonna give you guys a little insight actually as to what that release was like. 21 and Drake.
Are you smoking, by the way?
I'm good. No, I'm good.
He's not one of them littles,
Nah, I need to be able to focus. I don't think I'd be able to focus. There's no way. But 21 Savage kind of falls in the backseat of that album. It's mostly all Drake.
Oh, okay.
Which is strange because it's why even do a collab if you're not going to give 21 his shine. He had one song to himself, and every other song Drake just not washes him, he just has more lines. I don't know. You guys listen to a lot of music?
I mean, right now I've been more on my local artists, showing love to my brothers that's rapping. Shout out to CJ, from me, CEEJ6Y. Check it out on SoundCloud, my fault.
Yeah,
but you got a lot of tracks. I don't know, a lot of it should be him for me. You feel me? It might not work for everybody, but you could definitely find somebody that in the local area you could support and definitely vibe with their music.
Yeah, right.
I'm big on getting our market out there. I feel like Massachusetts is not really stamped on the map like that.
It's not musically, at least.
Yeah.
How about you? Got any local artists you've been listening to? Not so much.
Nah, CJ's my dog too.
CJ.
Yeah, Northside stuff.
I gotta get on CJ. CJ gotta get on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, for sure.
I'm definitely tell him to go.
Yeah, tell him. So what kind of music? Just he make rap, I assume.
Rap. I guess you can consider some of it a little bit R&B.
R&B. Does he do a little singing? Does CJ do a little bit of singing?
A little bit. Get into his vocals a little bit. I mean, I kind of, some of his music for me, I call it cloud rap. But I don't even know if that's the right genre to be real.
What
that's
is
just
that?
Kind of how I view it. It's really melodic, I guess.
I got you. That's the type of stuff I like. So it's
Yeah.
honestly, maybe I should give CJ. Not maybe. I definitely will give CJ a listen. I listen too much of the mainstream shit anyway. It's a lot of Drake. I listen to a lot of 21. A lot of these guys. So there's really no need for me. I mean, they already got millions and millions and millions of people listening to. And plus, I like to show cool shit that I find anyway. So if you can find something local, that'd be sick.
Could get a theme song for the podcast.
For real. So the little beat that plays in the beginning, I have a beat play for 2 seconds in the beginning of the podcast. That's someone local made that for me for the podcast.
Was it Javonchi in the cut?
It wasn't Javonchi in the cut.
Okay.
I was thinking about asking, yo, Vonchi, give me lit. I was thinking about asking Vonchi if he wanted to make me something, but I was like, he busy. If I was going through his YouTube trying to find like if I like something like really good for the intro. But it's just like it's just not the same. It's not that type of music. He makes like it's his. I almost think it's like too good.
Okay.
It needs to be very like chill, like just like a little
yeah.
entrance. Like you don't want to have to hear more. That should be the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just the intro. If I play one of his, like he's got fucking violins and that shit. He's got like good hi hats. I'm like, yo, bro, like he's gonna make people leave the video. And then like he's also at the beginning of all my videos, I'm probably gonna have to hear like it's Vanchi in the cut. And, like that's sick. But like, I don't know.
DOD in the cut.
I don't want to be in the cut. Wants me to be. So what made so you kind of like slid up on one of my stories? We've been talking back and forth, but like, what makes you want to be on the podcast, Jay?
Really just amplifying black voices. Like I feel like I got a different perspective. Like I feel like a lot of people my age, like being a person of color, don't really take the time to really step out of their shoes and look from a different perspective. Like,
wow,
I'm more on like networking and building like a bigger me. Like, cause if you want to get big, you got to start with yourself. Like, learn the right moves, the right way to market yourself. Like, I know I say a lot of it, but at the moment, like some of my social media, it's gonna be coming down soon. But gotta market yourself properly.
Yeah,
I recommend every young person get on LinkedIn and build them connections. If you don't want to be working that complacent job, working that like 9 to 5 at like Target, whatever you're working, making $20 an hour, you might think it's big money now. 5 years down the line, that's not gonna do nothing for you.
Right.
Like
right.
get into a spot where you can get benefits, job, whatever it is. Just get up off your ass and work for yourself.
All right, hey, what'd you think? Do you think he's crazy, or you right there with him?
I mean, I agree for the most part, to some extent. But I mean, also
he just ain't on LinkedIn yet.
Yeah, I'm not on LinkedIn yet.
I know.
I mean, I am, but I don't have a profile picture, so
Right.
and I'm not really established. I haven't really made too many connections, but I'm technically on there. But
all right.
I mean, me personally, I'm more like in the entrepreneur field, so like, I mean, I agree with him to some extent. Like, you should, if you're not stable, like find something that's stable, you know. But I mean, me, I'm more about like the opportunity, you know, just like wondering what's behind that next door and like taking that risk.
Right. Yeah. So that's why you're here today. It's like, hey, I'm going to do a podcast. You want to come for the ride? You want to come hang out? Next thing you know, you're on a podcast. Because I wasn't going to let you just sit on the sidelines. There's no way. I am going to be direct to most of the questions at Jay, though. No question. No cap. I'm sorry. But also, so back to what you were saying, though, Jay. This is very important. At least the very beginning strikes me. Because I know I was looking through my guests. And I was like, there's just, like, a lot of white here. And it's just because, like, I'm white. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to do this.
Exactly.
I don't want to do this. It's just, like, you know, the people that hit me up, the people I grew up with, like, I live, like, you know, Medford's, like,
predominantly white area.
Predominantly white. Like, we're in the U.S., which is also predominantly white. And then on top of that, I'm white. And I just run into a lot of white people. Exactly. So it felt very whitewashed of a page. I'm just looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Is it my fault? Like, is it just a societal thing? Like,
I think it's more on your network and your personal network. Like,
right.
The connections, like, you always build just when you, like, subconsciously is going to be somebody that relates to you, or you can find, like, something to connect with. You feel me? And me, I like to connect with everybody. Like, even if we don't even see the same. I could connect with somebody that's racist, to be honest, because I don't got to have the same perspective of you. Like, we don't have to have the same mentality. I don't know how to word it, you feel me? But
no, I'm with you. I agree.
Like, I'm more on, like, I mean, right now I'm about to give a presentation on freedom of speech. Like, so I'll use this for an example.
Hit me.
Like, freedom of speech, I feel like the more our society, like, as we get older, it's more conformed and censored. Like, I can't come out and say whatever I really want to say just because of the fear of being canceled, but I feel like we got to get away from that because people make mistakes. People say the wrong things at all times. Like, it's just about giving them the right knowledge to learn what's right from wrong, what's appropriate to say. But, like, the way we go about it nowadays, I don't think is right. Like, but to bring me back to what I was originally saying, like, I feel like you having more of a, like, white market or with your podcast has nothing to do with how you feel or how you think, like how you want to operate. It's more of a subconscious thing. Like, I connect with a lot of black people just because I'm black myself. Like, I connect with a lot of people of color because that's, like, my crowd. Like,
yeah. But
I have no problem going out of my way to connect with somebody that's not the same color as me, doesn't come from the same environment as me, because that's what it really matters. Like, at the end of the day, if you want to do something with your life, you got to build those connections, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Like, get out your box.
Conversation's power in a lot of ways. If you hear something different, it can really kind of like throw you for a loop sometimes. But that's good. Like you don't want to, because I feel like I hang out with the same 20 people all the time, and we're all just kids my age that went to the same school, pretty much got similar grades. We're all at the same school, so we're all probably in the same academic standing at all of our high schools, and we all end up in the same place. And I feel like we vary a lot because I know these people so well, and like I know I'm not exactly like them, but in the grand scheme, we are so similar. It's like, what value am I even gaining from someone? Not value, obviously, like they're my friends, I love them. But like, what am I gonna learn from these people if they're just like me? We've had the same experience.
I mean, I think with every friendship there has to be a like certain value of it. Like I can't be friends with somebody if I'm not gaining any benefit to it. And I think the same for people that are friends with me. Like you shouldn't be friends with me if there's no benefit to it. If you're not getting any knowledge, like if I'm not helping you find the crucial steps to like financial wealth or just sharing like insightful things, like you shouldn't be friends with somebody like that. Or even think about yourself. Like if you're kind of complacent where you're at life, you need to reevaluate your life. Like there's always more to life.
Complacency is very dangerous.
Exactly.
With a lot of this being said, let's talk about Kyrie Irving. What happened with Kyrie? So details. I'll put the basic. I'm just gonna lay out the basic details for anybody that doesn't know or only reads headlines. I'll say what actually happened. So Kyrie puts out on his social link to the book, I think documentary book.
Yeah, it was a documentary.
Documentary about basically what BHI, like Black Hebrew is.
The original Jews. I guess.
Yeah, the original Jews. It's the idea. It's the concept that like Black people are Jewish, and a lot of the things in the documentary are talking about that Jewish people today are hiding Black people's history, and like even some things in the documentary say that the Holocaust suggest the Holocaust never happened. And Kyrie posts this on his story, and now he's been suspended 5 days because the league asked him to apologize, and he gave kind of a half-assed apology, kind of working around the world or around the words that they wanted him to say, and now he's been suspended 5 games without pay, and we don't know, it's indefinite, so he might continue. But he did then after put out a well-worded apology, 3 paragraphs on his Instagram. Now that we have the details out there, what were your thoughts on that? Cause
honestly, I don't agree with it. I kind of stand with Kyrie because he did come out and say he doesn't agree with everything in the documentary and the book.
Right.
But I stand with him in the sense of like, why should he have to conform to society's norms? Like, why am I not allowed to put out what I want to put out if I'm not? He didn't say anything anti-Semitic. All he did was put out a documentary and a book that you can go find on Amazon.
That's the thing, it's on Amazon.
How did Jeff Bezos not get any backlash for even selling or promoting that book in a sense of putting it on his, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, his platform. And what about the creator of the book? Nobody's coming at him for even making it or the documentary. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's more of like, I feel like they try to limit Black minds and keep them like to a certain area. They don't want us to, it feels like a lot of times, and by they I mean, those secret shadow governments, whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't really want us to know like what we're supposed to know. I mean, I didn't read the documentary, watch the documentary, read the book, so I don't even know what was in there, honestly. So I can't even say I completely agree with like promoting the book, but at the end of the day, he's his own man. Like, who are you to basically say what he can and can't do with his platform? And I feel like it's like limiting his freedom of speech. Like, we're in America. That's like our First Amendment. Like, you can say what you want, like do what you want, as long as you're not a hateful person or inciting violence like among people. And I don't think that incited any violence or anything. So
that's kind of where the issue lies, I think, because I agree with you. By the way, I am going to take other perspectives so that like we can have like a little bit of like momentum, because otherwise me and you would just be like, yep. So it seems like when you have a platform that size, same thing happened with Kanye. When you have a platform of that size, they feel like promoting this type of ideology could make other people become violent, and like they would be like, or it might steer other people's direction. If I feel this way, if I like feel like if I'm racist, it doesn't matter. unless if I'm not planning to commit violence, but I'm racist, doesn't matter because no one's listening to me. But like people listen to Kanye, people listen to Kyrie Irving, so like even just having these ideas could lead to someone. Maybe they watch the documentary, then they think everything in it's true, and then they're hateful against Jewish people, and maybe Jewish people then get like. Maybe someone like goes out to hurt one, whatever. So that's the idea. But it's like that degree. That's why it's so different with celebrities. Like that 2 steps away from the violence. Like they didn't necessarily incite it, but they didn't do anything to stop it either. But is that their obligation? Like are they do they need to be that way, just because we want them to be that way?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think the fault lies within the people that listen and run with that narrative, or like just follow blindly without taking the time to knowledge up on what they're following. You feel me? So like if it was like, let's say, like we'll use Hitler for example. The people that Hitler, he's just speaking on what's in his mind. That doesn't mean it's right. It could definitely be wrong. Like yeah, for sure it was wrong. We see it.
Yeah.
Like now for sure what he was spitting was some wrong shit. But like
what he was spitting, hey, you heard it here first. But
yeah,
what Hitler was spitting was some wrong shit.
No cap, but
right.
Like, for him to be like the only one persecuted, should also be the people that were persecuted. A lot of the people that stood with Hitler in those crimes, like they flee to other countries and be straight. A lot of them came over here. A lot of racist Nazis came over here, and they're fine. Like nothing really happened to them. Like, but all the fault lies within Hitler just because he had the platform. But at a point, Hitler didn't have the platform. The platform was built around him. And I don't think you see that with Kanye or Kyrie. Like, you don't see a hateful platform behind them. It's just people that want to actually gain knowledge. And the platform that's behind them is the black community, like, confused why. I mean, Kanye, for sure, his sponsors getting pulled was most definitely understandable. Kyrie, I don't think it makes sense, but... Like,
so what was the difference with what Kanye went through and what?
I feel like Kanye, he says, like he's clearly, I wouldn't say, because I don't know, I'm no psychiatrist or whatever, a doctor. I don't know if he's clearly suffering from something mental, but there's clearly a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes we're not aware of. Mm-hmm. But a lot of things he says could be very blunt. That could be taken like repulsively by his audience. So I think what he has to do better is the way he puts out what he says and kind of put a more professional aspect to it. Because I understand Kanye, like he's always been like that. He doesn't want to conform to the media and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's not even just conforming to the media. It's about like leaving that role model for your people.
Yeah, like the message he's trying to say in a lot of these things. Like say it's like he tweets out, "I'm going DEFCON 3 on all the Jews." Dude, like that's stupid.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That's
at
violent.
All.
It's bad. And then I watched. So I didn't want to just shut it off though. I didn't want to shut him out though because I wanted to hear. So I listened to his Drink Champs podcast and then his Lex Friedman podcast after. And in both, he comes to a couple realizations. He still says some things a little crass. He says like it comes from a place of jealousy of Jewish people, and like. He kind of comes to that realization. He says, like, I take back the tweet. I wish I didn't say it. He's like, it was a late night tweet. And I'm like, he's too big to do that. He's not, like, you can't just, like, make that type of mistake and have there be no repercussions. And also, all these companies that are dropping him, he has to assume that's going to happen because they're private. Like, these companies can do whatever the hell they want. Like, it's not their obligation to hold them, even if it is just because of difference of beliefs. That might kind of wake us up to the fact of like, oh, if you don't believe the way these people do, like, you might get dropped.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird in its own sense. Same thing with Kyrie. Like, Nike suspended his
drop coming
his shoes
out.
out.
Yeah.
His shoes gone. So Kyrie 8's not going to happen. And, the team, but that's Nike. And the team, the Nets, that's technically private. Like, they can suspend him as long as they want in a lot of ways. Like, I don't even know if I have issue with that. Because, again, it's their decision, just like how Kyrie has his decisions, and I respect those, and they didn't like it, so they suspend him. But I just don't like the idea of, like, they can do that, but I don't like the idea of not liking what you're hearing and then trying to make someone change who they are because you don't like it. But at what point is it too much?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's so much gray area.
It's all nuance.
Like, yeah, like it's hard to know when it's too much. Like, being said, like it's because in some like that's the thing with hate speech. Not like there's a lot of gray areas with hate speech. You feel me? Because anybody could take offense to it, but you might not have been trying to offend somebody when you said it. Like it's a hard thing to spot and really understand. Like I think it really falls on the audience and the person speaking.
Yeah, it
like,
depends who's listening.
Yeah.
Right. Like with these brands that drop Kanye, right? He goes years prior, slavery is a choice.
Yeah.
No one dropped him.
No one dropped him.
But because to them they're like, all right, well, like you hear him out. I guess what he was saying when he said that text, so, like this is what happens with Kanye. He just says something to stir it, which because like otherwise I don't know if anybody would listen if he's not like stirring
the pot. Yeah.
So it's kind of like a catch-22 because like either you're not gonna get heard or you're gonna get heard and hated. So it kind of sucks. But he says slavery was a choice. What he meant was like modern slavery, like the way that we like the term nowadays of not so much with like what's going on like the sweatshops in China, but more like if you're kind of what he's talking about now, like if you're a slave to the game or like to
conforming to society.
Conforming to society, you're a slave. Like that's a choice in his opinion. So that's what he was saying. But obviously the wording was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And but no company drops him. And then he says this thing about the Jewish people because these people, a lot, not all, but some of them are Jewish. They're gonna hear it, and then they want him gone because that's hate speech to them. And who are we to tell them like, what hurts them? So it's so hard to like. There's no defined rules. To this shit. It's just that's why like I think if you can just spread like a positive and like a loving narrative, then you can't be touched. Like, if you're like, I just want to hear from everybody. I want to hear all these perspectives. Instead of saying, I'm going to DEFCON 3 and all the Jews. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't say that, Kanye West.
But, like, the thing is...
It's gangsta, dude.
Even like, in terms of that, it's just, like... Somebody of color can't even say that, you feel me? The same way Kanye was able to say slavery was a choice. Had it been a white man... that man would have lost all of his sponsorships and things like that. Like,
true.
Like, that's what I hate about society. Like, there is no real freedom of speech for any race or any person. Like, there's certain things each group can't say or whatever. Even if they're not using the term to offend nobody, somebody can take offense to it. So it's like, that's why I feel like every day, we get censored more and more.
And that's why, like, a world where, like, you can kind of just... Because, Kanye tweets that out. He gets suspended from Twitter, suspended from Instagram. Like, I don't think shutting somebody up is the answer.
It isn't at all.
Because then I heard him talking on these podcasts, and he literally, like, throughout the few hours, like, comes to realizations within it. Like, he's like, oh, well, maybe... He's like, I'm kind of thinking... I remember him saying, like, this exact thing. I'm thinking about this right now, but maybe it's coming from a place of jealousy. You want to know why? Because the Drink Champs people, they push back a little bit towards the middle end of the podcast. They're like, which also got yanked from YouTube. But they push back on him like, hey, like, you can't say that. We're all love. We love Jewish people. We love Jewish people. We love people. We're all human. And he was like, all right, well, maybe it's from a place of jealousy. Like, they were able to band together and rise, and, like, they have such power. But, like, when he was saying, it was like, when a black man has power, it's just him.
Yeah. And I get where he's coming from, because I see that myself, like, being a person of color. You could see, like, somebody go up, and it's really only him going up. Even if you're not asking him for, like, currency, money, whatever, this, like, not asking from his plate, he's not going to get you at the table to make your own plate.
Right,
like,
right.
And that's, like, the point in Kanye, what he was saying in his mad rambling that I understood, like, like, the way he went about it, like, it was very, like, hateful. Like, I can't disagree with that. Like, he persecuted a group, like, but that's not what his intentions were. It's just about finding, like, the right things, like, Kanye definitely needs somebody to be rereading his tweets and watching his statements before he say them. Like,
just like figuring it out with him. Like, I feel like because like what he wants to say isn't that. What it's gonna come across the wrong way.
Yeah.
And he don't want that either. Like, he don't want that to happen. Just like how, you know what I mean? Like, he don't want that. So, for his sake, I want him to say, if he meant that, then it's one thing. Like, he means that, like, now he's got to, I don't know what you do from that point on, though. Like, what do you do? Say, like, someone goes on Twitter and starts spewing some, like, racism, like, openly, but like doesn't say like inciting violence. Just thinks like, say it's let's just do it like odd example for fun. Let's say like a black person goes out there. Let's say Kyrie Irving wakes up tomorrow, goes on Twitter and just says, "I think black people are the superior race." Like then what do you do?
I mean,
do we like can you suspend him then? Do you suspend him then or no? Or is it still
exactly? And who is he really like? Like that's I think it's okay for him to have that thought. Like it's okay for a white man to feel like he has a superior race, but at the end of the day, that doesn't make it a factual statement. It's just he's living his own truth. You feel me? That's how I look at it. Everybody lives their own truth. Like
that's crazy.
I wake up every day in the mirror. It might not be 100% factual, but I look in the mirror. I tell myself, yo, I'm the most put together person I know.
I'm like that.
Yeah, I'm like that. Like I'm really him. Like I'm the most handsome person I know. It might not be factual or whatever.
No, that's all true.
But it's all true. Living your own truth. Like
most handsome person I know too, bro.
Nah. Like, come on. It's living your own truth. Realistically, like that's what it is. Like
it's funny actually. Before you came on, I go through like a couple just to kind of get my brain going. I'll like think little thought experiments before my podcast. Like what. I look up, like, what's the meaning of life, things like that, those deep questions. One of them was, what is, like, the role of ego in your life? And, like, is it a good or bad thing to have, like, an ego?
First, I watched the podcast on the meaning of life. So, I have some people think life has meaning. My perspective on it is life really has no meaning except just living. But like my religious beliefs make me feel like the purpose of life is to live like pure love, show love to get to a better place in your afterlife.
Right.
But like it's weird like how I think, but I like to think of things from like I said, a lot of different perspectives.
Let's stay on that then. Stay on the meaning of life for a second. So, because what I think of, I had this like epiphany like a couple days ago. I'm meaning to bring it up on the podcast. So I think of it religiously, like the whole idea is like you're good, and then it'll go like it transfers to you in the afterlife. Like whatever you do now, it's like it's good. It's true in all religions. It's in different terms, like karma in like Buddhist, but like in Christianity, it's like you go to heaven or hell. So for me, I think of it as like the present moment is your like is present. It's now. The afterlife is whatever's after. So the future. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways. I think of it like your future is... Because I think when you die, you die. Yeah. I think you're gone. But what are you going to make your afterlife after right now? Is if you are a good person in every moment, you're creating a heaven for yourself ahead. Mm-hmm. Like you will be living in heaven. And at the end, when you're like retired and you're 65 years old, you have all these kids and they're all good people and they're all living a good life and you lived a good life and you still have 20 years ahead of you and you're living in heaven because you were a good person. That is your afterlife in a way. Yeah. To your prior self that was making all those good decisions, all those good moves like you right now on this podcast. Like, so that's kind of just something I was thinking about. Like, it's not so much what's going to come after or the meaning of life in that sense. You have this life. Obviously, it impacts you. We've all cried. Yeah. We've all laughed. We've all felt like exhilaration. We've all been on roller coasters, So, obviously, it impacts you. So, it's the meaning of your personal well-being. So, you're trying to just lay forth a good path for yourself to the afterlife, your future. Crazy.
It is pretty crazy to think about. Because there's so many ways you can look at it. Like
millions.
All right, I'm going to step out of my shoes and my religious beliefs for a second.
Go for it.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. Like, even the sense of good and bad. Like, what is really good and what is really bad, because that's all a construct of man. Like, it's not a real thing. The same with time. Like, time is not a real thing. There's no such thing as, like, there's such thing as years, but if you think deeply enough about it, it's like one man came up with the idea and let that, like, a lot of people followed it. That's how I look at it. Like, even our modern day calendars, it's not, like, there's some countries, like, that are 10 years behind compared to our calendars, you feel me? Mm-hmm. Like, it brings me back to the meaning of life, like, in the sense of good and bad. Like, I feel like life is pointless to an extent, just because when you do things for religious beliefs and, you're doing that good, are you really doing it to be a good person or to promise yourself a good afterlife? Like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like if there wasn't things like religious beliefs, we would really find out who would be a naturally good person and who would be just living for themselves. Like, you would really find out who's here to help you and who's here to, like, isn't. Because I feel like people do things subconsciously because they want to get to a better place in the future or in their afterlife. Like, I can't say that I don't do good things because I hope it'll benefit me in the future. Like,
Yeah. I mean, a level of selfishness is involved, you know?
yeah.
Like with any decision. What's your thoughts? This is a very important question. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you got any?
Wait, on what the meaning
Just
of
the
life
meaning
is?
of life
Yeah.
to you.
I mean, I definitely think that there is somewhat a meaning of life in a sense. I mean, but at the end of the day, it also is just, like, not me. Like, doesn't have meaning, if you know what I mean. I don't know. You know what I mean?
He's really high right now. But,
Because, like,
let me hear it.
Keep going, bro. You got this.
now what I'm basically saying is, like, at the end of the day, like, feel me, there may be afterlife, but I mean, everyone's kind of going through similar things, and, like, it's really just about you, like, being able to figure out how to get through it, you know. But I mean, I also do believe that, like, you know, everyone has their own talents that they're born with, and, you know, using that and elevating that would probably be what your purpose is, because that's why you have it. You wouldn't have it for no reason, you know.
That's a good point.
So that's what I mean when, you know, like, there's purpose, because, like, you have a gift. Everyone has something. But also at the end of the day, life is somewhat meaningless in the short because everyone has a gift and everyone's doing the same thing. So it's a collective of the same thing.
So do you feel like, well, first, do you feel like you found your thing, like your gift?
In a sense, yeah. I think for me, it's just my purpose is just to help people in any way as I can. But I mean, the main way I'm facilitating that right now is I'm a life insurance broker. And with that, I have the ability, you know, help people set up tax-free retirement plans and, you know, set up generational wealth and just educate them on, like, how they can use their financials to benefit them in the future and, like, really just financial understanding and wisdom, I guess.
Right. That's very, very important.
Yeah.
More important than probably anything I do. I feel like when I say, a lot of people be like, I'm here to help people. And then, like you actually are legitimately helping people. Like, on a day-to-day basis. Like, that's what you do. That's your job.
Yeah.
And whereas, like, some people, like, won't make that their livelihood. They'll be like, oh, I'm here to help people. I'm like, how? They're like, well, my sister called me last week and I picked her up at the bar. I'm like, well, no fucking shit. Like, I hope so.
Yeah,
that's not helping people. You need to help people. Well, wait, financially. Not kicking them money, teaching them. You know, it's like the whole idea of, like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink.
Exactly. Could teach a man to fish, but it's up to him to catch it or something
yeah,
like that.
it's like, what is it? You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You give him a rod,
exactly.
he eats for life. So you're actually, like, helping these people, like, on a life. That's very important that you found that about yourself. Found a job that aligns with that. Probably, do you feel fulfilled in a lot of ways, like, when you do these things?
Yeah, for sure, because, you know.
That's fucking awesome.
I
That's so awesome.
I got a question for you, Abe. Like, when you do, like, take your purpose in life and turn it into a career or something you gotta, like, do with working, do you feel like you lose that sense of passion? Like, do you think you still want to do this in 10, 20 years, even if you've seen already the financial benefit from it? Like, let's say you end up being a millionaire. Do you think you'll still continue to help people just because you want to help people in the sense of, like, helping them with policies, or do you think you'll find another way of helping them?
Be honest, just if it is like a selfish answer, it's not a bad thing.
Nah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I definitely just keep doing this because I really do get, like, a pleasure from helping people. And, like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of get it from my mom. Like, she's always been, like, a giving person. Like, I've always been around her, so it kind of rubbed off on me. And, like,
What's your mom's name?
Hewitt.
Shout out.
You did.
Dub mom.
For sure.
She was very, like, giving as well. She was very giving.
I feel like that's just naturally where I get it. But, yeah, I don't know. When you help people, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but, like, I just get, like, a crazy, like, feeling after, like, of a good feeling, like, just flows through you.
It's true.
Especially when you help them through some tough shit. No cap. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Abe's my boy. There's been times I've been down bad. Abe helped me, and I know he'd be feeling, like, blessed off of it. No cap.
No, he helps you, and then you're like, you're welcome.
No cap.
You're so welcome.
That's how I'm about to start saying. I know you love this. Your return.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So Jay, what's your purpose? Do you feel like you found it?
I mean, I guess my purpose or my talent would be my voice, and using that voice to amplify the voices around me, the ones that
like
don't
you
want to
mean
be
the
heard.
deepness of it? I'm kidding.
I mean, not even.
That's just a talent. That's just
to a certain extent, I guess. But I mean, even being on the podcast, like,
right.
I feel like I'm the person that'll take initiative for the people that want to be heard. Like, I'm not famous or anything now. My plan isn't to be famous, but my plan is to be heard. Like, I want my voice to be heard for millions. If it's not advocating for something I like might align with, but I want to advocate for something that's for the benefit of like my people, the people I know, the people I've been around, the people I've had exchanges with. Like, I want to advocate for something that really gives benefit to all. So I want to make sure my voice is heard by like millions.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to be selling a bunch of Bread Runner J
Exactly.
apparel, but if it's like for like the good of the people, you're very content with that being what you do.
No cap.
And I feel like that kind of does definitely align with like the way you're moving right now. It's a lot of like you're just trying to build a connection. Like there is a lot of people that probably had similar interests to you in doing this podcast that would never like feel the need to do it or reach out, or if I reach out back, like they never would pursue it. Like you're here right now. That's like it's a lot to do.
Even on that, like if I couldn't have been here today if it wasn't for my boy Abe, to be real, like he helped me in that sense. Like took the time out of his day, made sure I got here, like did what we had to do. But like that's how I like look at it. Some people would have been like felt like they didn't need to take that step and put their voice out there. Even if I feel like what I have to say doesn't matter, like I'm gonna still advocate or speak up on something that I feel like I'm knowledgeable on. Just make sure I'm heard.
Just a voice of the people.
No cap.
That's fire. I feel like my personal purpose probably comes from I feel like I have a talent for I can talk to anybody, like anybody, and I just like have translated that into a podcast. Like I always felt like no matter who had got in my car, or like if because I always did the drives. I don't smoke, I don't drink, so I always like was driving. I'm always like DD. I always pick up people. I'll pick up them and their friends, or whatever scenario. I'm always available to help people. I like helping people too. Wouldn't say it's my purpose, but I like to do it. But I pick people up and like they'll be in like I think when I first met you, I picked you up. I don't even know if you remember that. You were with Tevin.
So, Tevin.
You were with Tevin.
I forget what he was going to do or something.
I don't even know.
Or you might have drove us home like after
I think
school.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. So like that's just what that's a very common like way for me to meet people, and I felt like in those conversations like I just leave myself. It's a good first impression. I like to leave. I like to learn something from people, and I think a lot of people put up like a little bit of like a face of like who they are, just so that they don't have to like deal with people all the time. Yeah. It's not a bad thing. I do the same thing. I walk through my classes like I'm not.
That's probably how I look.
Like I'm not the jolliest guy. I'm like the happiest dude alive. But once you break that initial wall down with people, you're vulnerable yourself. And I think that's what I've mastered, like just being able to talk to people. It's like you can learn so much from one person, even someone that like isn't necessarily successful. Everyone's made the same amount of successes and failures in their own world, and you just gotta find out what it is. Like maybe someone you don't like. I say I meet someone in college right now, and in high school they were a bad shooter in ball in like their freshman year. By the time they were a senior, they were the best shooter on the team. I would never know that just by looking at them or even by talking to them for a couple seconds. But you get talking to them enough, like, oh, you got that good at something over time? How'd you do that? He's like, oh, hard work. I was in the gym for 12 hours a day. It's like, you have that type of determination? That's inspiring. I learned to be a little more determined that day. And I just think that me seeing the value in conversation on top of being able to do it is like a beautiful combination. I'd like to think that is my purpose. At least it is for now, until this podcast is over, and then I do something else in my life. We'll see what that ends up being. You guys are episode 80, by the way. This is the 80th episode.
Damn,
that's a cool number.
No cap.
8's one of my favorite numbers. 8
is
and
it?
5.
8 and 5.
Yeah.
You play any football?
Basketball.
Yeah. Were you a shooter?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I'm better than him.
You're better than him?
I'm better than him.
I'm better than both of you. So. No, it's because I played, but
There was nice. So it was shit on you.
Yeah, I was okay. I was okay. Did you play in high school?
Yeah, a little bit.
Word. I remember I played center. I was like, I'm this big playing center. It was funny because we had Tev on our team.
Yeah.
so I was starting over Tev, and I was like, yo, you guys. I went to the coach like multiple times. I was like, yo, you guys. Tevin's 6'6", about 285 fucking pounds. Can you start him, please?
Literally.
It looks weird putting me out there. It looks like a race thing. We need to. This needs to stop now. And they were like, "No, we like him off the bench." I'm like, I think I like us winning, but whatever you say. Tev was a beast. It was always funny going up against him in practice. I'm one center, he was the other one. We couldn't look any more different. Another person I want to have on soon. He's really funny. One of the funniest people I know. But so you've been saying before we started, like, about like Year Up.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
Year Up. It's a program about closing the opportunity divide and taking young adults and putting them in careers that they wouldn't be able to attain without going through like networking and certain like you just gotta have certain connections. Shout out to Gerald, the founder. I actually met him and I've spoken to him a lot about some of my business aspects in the future that I wanna, or businesses I wanna have in the future. But that's really what it's about. And they teach you a lot of things like networking, a lot of soft skills. There's some actual certifications you can get with the program. Me personally, I'm trying to get into business operations, so I'm learning how to be a project manager. I might go back to school unless I could pick up a career straight up off this internship and let them pay for my school. But,
yeah. That'd be sick. That'd be ideal. So what are these? Without giving away the keys to the castle, what are these businesses you got in your mind?
I do want to do a clothing brand, but I want to do it differently. How everybody does it. I'm gonna find a way to connect it to my community and other artists without actually having like all my designs out. If you get what I'm saying, I want to branch out to schools and find a way to reach out to the youth and give them the opportunity to do something in that regard. Because I know I've always liked the art shit, like drawing. I used to do shoe customs, like made some posters in my room, things like that.
Can you draw?
A little bit. I wouldn't say I'm the best, but
yeah,
a little bit.
That's kind of sick. That's a really cool business idea.
Yeah, and I just want to find a way to like branch the youth in and give them like the opportunity. Like, how many kids like want to make something, be a fashion designer, and they get told they can't or don't get that opportunity to. So I want to be the person that gives them that opportunity.
Yeah, even just going to schools and just being like, hey, like, let me make you like a custom shirt for your school, but we're gonna work. I want to work with your students, and then like they do like a thing. They tell all the students like, hey, like this is the guy. They'll show you, because I feel like a lot of people like, if I heard in the morning announcements and they were like, we need 5 designers. Aspiring designers that want to come to the principal's office, I don't think I'd go down there. But if like there was like an assembly, and you showed up, and you had the mic, and you're like with that voice, and you're just like, yo, I just need like some designers and shit, and like if y'all trying to pull up, like we can make a cool design, and then like it would be something like a little more accessible than like some 36-year-old like sub teacher on the PA being like, if we need like 3 designers. I think you could really like get people to want to do that, especially some kids that like might be too cool for it. Yeah, 'cause you're a cool guy, so you can just go up there with like it's like natural, like who you are, and like they might like want to gravitate towards it.
Even speaking on that, like I don't know if any high school is gonna be watching this or whatever. You're not too cool to do anything. Like stop living in a high school mentality. A lot of people bring that to college, whatever, bro. True. Get who you want to get, do what you want to do, because none of that shit matters in the adult life. Like, at all. Nobody really knows your business unless you tell them.
Another thing is, like, no one really gives a fuck.
Literally, like...
no one has ever cared what
I feel like the good thing about high school is it's a community. Like, you build those bonds. You'll never get, like, another high school opportunity, like, to meet people like that. Even in college, it's different. Like,
it's not as close.
Exactly. Like, you see them people, like, almost... every day, like what is it, like 180 days or something like that at school?
4 years.
Yeah,
180
like
days.
Every year, and some of the people you've known through middle school, elementary school, like.
Then like your teams, like if you're on a team with someone, like I saw fucking these people, like way too much. Literally. Let me go to eat after, fucking, it's way too much.
Literally, I think about that all the time. Like when I play football, like bro, I met so many different people and. Like, I connected with them on so many different levels, and half of them I don't even know right now. If I could go back, I'd connect with everybody. I'd be on LinkedIn, like, enforcing that, like, yo, like, I want to get back to know you, like, in 10 years, whatever you're on, like, let's work together. Like, I feel like that's what we got to get to as a society, everybody working together to elevate each other. Like, and I feel like, especially in Massachusetts, you don't really see that like that. Like, you can go to other states, and everybody in the community is, like, making sure everybody's put on, but you don't see that in Massachusetts.
Especially I feel like where we're from. I feel like I don't know anybody that's like in Medford that's like, let me put you on. Like, it's not even. It seems like almost weird to say. Like, no one in Medford does nothing.
Yeah.
Like, really. I mean, there's some people that do like little things like the starting. I feel like it kind of like we're a pretty good like group of youth that are like trying to do something. Like, I feel like I'm trying to do something with what I do. You know, I got enough. Got 80 episodes now. About 50 of them are Medford people. Just a little community thing. It's a local thing in a lot of ways. Like, I feel like most people have heard about or have had someone like a friend of theirs on the podcast. So I'm doing something locally, at least like making us a little bit closer.
Yeah, bringing the community
But
together.
People, like, we don't fucking like each other. Like, see what the problem is. Like, I don't know what everyone's deal is. It's like I'll see like Medford people. A lot of people go to UMass Lowell. I sit next to someone. I'm not gonna name names. I sit next to someone in my class that I knew all high school, all middle school, all elementary. I sit next to someone in this year's class. I haven't said anything to them. They haven't said anything to me either. And it's like this like culture. I think that's just like that's our past. Like, this is
literally
now.
Like,
which is like I don't think you need to do that.
And I feel like people don't value the past as much as they used to, or the past within themselves, like their past. Like, I feel like it's good to always remember that your experiences are different from any other person's experience. You even having a sibling, like,
right.
Your sibling will never have the same experience as you because they're not you. Like, somebody could share like similar like things that's happened or like some similar situations, but nobody has the same life experience as you. So I feel like it's always good to like go back and reconnect with those people that like you had some of those experiences with and share new experiences and learn from what they might have fucked up at, and they could learn what you fucked up at, and y'all could come together and be successful, or even give like another person the keys to success if you have them.
Mm-hmm. I've made my life off of not making other people's mistakes. That's like, I feel like I hear someone will do something, and then I just like don't do it. Whereas other people need to make the mistake to like to not have it happen, and I get that. But I feel like even my decision to not drink, not saying it's a mistake. Some people need a nice beverage every once in a while. I completely understand. I feel like everyone should drink. Like if I were to say like everyone or no one, I'd say everyone. Same thing with smoking. But I know my dad, like he's good now. Been sober for like 30 years. But he told me all his stories about when he was like younger and like he had to go to AA and like all the shit that happened. And I'm half him. So in my mind, I'm like, there's a chance that this could fuck with me. Like it fucked with him, you know, like bad. And not that it scared me out of doing it. It's just like I just kind of started living. Plus my role model is my dad. And like I see him and he never drank. And he's the best. So it was never associated with being cool in the first place. And then on top of that, I knew that the bad parts of his life were directly correlated. So if I'm half him, if he's my hero and he doesn't drink, I don't need to. And then that's kind of just the way I grew up. And then once that time of my life came around, I was like, you know what? If I can get by, if I don't want to be like isolated from my friends or anything. If I have my friends and I'm happy, then I don't need to drink.
Exactly.
And until the day I'm not happy, I'm not going to drink. So I don't think I ever will, honestly. Because I'm just a happy dude.
And that's also, like, plays into having the right people around you. Like,
fact.
I mean, if you're my friend, I probably peer pressured you to do some shit just because I want you to have, like, a different experience. Like, I've had a lot of fun. I've done some drugs. I'm not going to say whichever one.
Yeah.
No needles, though, and nothing in my nose or whatever.
Yeah,
like that.
Right.
But I think it's always, like, good to just experience different things, but like even the family history plays into it. Like if you know your family has like bad history with certain things, then you shouldn't, because it genetically could come down to that. And it's
just like, you know, just like playing the odds. Like why am I playing the odds?
Exactly,
like 50-50, half and half. Like why are we doing
like, but even in that sense, I think like one thing I do recommend for everybody is the shrooms. Like definitely opens up your eyes.
I hear a lot about the shrooms.
Yeah, like I know you don't smoke. I would say even if you drink tea, like you could put shrooms in tea. Like
I love tea.
And I would say
love tea.
Like if you're scared to do it, just remember it comes from the earth. Like I don't think anything from the earth can hurt you unless it's been touched by man, or man has really like affected it in a harmful way, like to make it like a poisonous or something like that. You feel me? Unless it's like poison ivy or something. Mm-hmm. But like when I did it, it really changed my mentality and my outlook on life.
I was gonna actually ask you, what are some like transform? Because you're talking about people want to forget the past. What are some like transformative moments? Because you're not how you were in high school.
Exactly.
I didn't know you well, but like I mean, like it's not like you were, because as you said, like you wish you were linking in, like you were on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. You wish like you were doing these other things. Obviously, you don't regret your past, but it's just like you wish you had done these. So what were like these transformative moments?
I'd
the
say
way?
I had a lot of transformative moments.
Said a couple.
I did construction, and like I didn't have to be an apprentice or nothing like that. So I came off the gate making a good amount of money, and that was one of the transformative moments where I didn't like who I was because I let the money control me, and I was young. I didn't really know how to manage my money. I was like 18, like 40 an hour, 60 an hour off overtime. Like I was making a lot of money, and then like I was surrounded by people my age who didn't even touch like at the time what was minimum wage, like 12, 14. Yeah, like they're not even touching 25 an hour, and like I just was kind of a dickhead. Like I let the money consume me, and I pushed away some people I probably didn't need to push away. But like I got my I I sacrificed the money to be a better person, if you get what I'm saying. Like I understand construction wasn't for me, like in the sense of like I didn't like who I would become if I stayed around some of those people that did construction. And I went and did a lot of different work. I worked like in the medical field a little bit. I tried to like dip my hand in everything so I could find what really worked for me. Which brought me to my next transformative moment was probably say getting into a fight with one of my siblings. And that was just like over the summer type thing. But that made me learn how to rely within like myself. Like I'm not close with my mom, but that showed me I can't rely on her. One person I've always been able to fall back is my dad. Like, and I know not a lot of people have like the availability of having two parents or whatever, but I feel like if you could just fall back on somebody that's like shows you they're genuine and here to support you, like you should. Like, you shouldn't be scared to have somebody to be there for you. Like, but that the way my dad changed me got me into this mindset of really like focusing on my future but not overthinking it. Like it's good to have a plan for 5 years, but you have to understand that in 5 years you probably won't want that same plan. Like
you probably won't be where you planned either.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's good to work by like day by day to an extent. Like focus on making small goals for yourself. Like I set a new goal for myself every 2 weeks instead of like focusing on my goal from 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the line. If somebody were to ask me what do I want to do, like for a career or 10 years down the line, I'll tell you I don't want to do jack shit. Like I don't. That's one thing I hate about society. I have no job that's appealing to me or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, I want to work for myself and help people, like in the way I want to help people. But I don't know. That's been like my biggest transformative moment was with my dad. What about you, Abe?
I was about to ask.
I mean, I've definitely had a few, but I don't want to get in there. I'm gonna get in a few of them. I'd probably say when I was working valet, and just just thinking like there's more to like what I can achieve than this. Just being stuck in that little cycle, and then just taking the leap of faith, and then that's when I studied to get my license to be like a life and health insurance broker, and then just diving into that, quitting my job, and just trying to go all in.
Yeah.
And also I'd probably say just some like my own like self-education that I've done, like the past 2 years, because I dropped out of school just because I didn't really see myself fitting in. Like I don't know, it just wasn't really meshing. Some I don't know told me like I shouldn't be doing this right now, and like I had other things to focus on. So I just definitely say it's like diving into myself, trying to find who I really am, and just trying to educate myself on the things that I'm really most interested in, rather than like trying to follow a curriculum that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, there's a couple things with what you just said. First, the idea of being like valet. I know, like that's actually in a lot of movies. It's very symbolic. Like
I've done valet before.
You're the one. You're putting all these cars away. A lot of times they're nice cars.
Exactly.
And you're looking at these nice cars, and you're saying cycle. You know what you do? You drive, and in the movie, you drive off the screen, and then you drive back on the screen with the car. That's all your job is. That's who you are in this movie of life, and you don't want to be that cycle in life anymore. You want to be the person that drops the car off, the camera follows in, camera follows out, and then someone brings you your car.
Exactly.
So it's pretty symbolic in that way too. So it's very, very cool you say that. That's like both of your starts in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I've done a lot of crazy jobs. I've done moving, construction. I've been a medical receptionist. I've done valet. I worked at a warehouse. I don't know. I did a little bit of security. I done mad shit.
21 years old.
21 years old.
You done
bro.
all this shit?
All this shit,
That's
bro.
crazy.
Like,
see, I sat on my ass during COVID, so
I mean,
I feel like I missed out on some.
I feel like during COVID, it was as crazy as it sounds. I didn't get COVID only once in the beginning, though. When I was doing construction.
I didn't get COVID, so for that one time.
Yeah, but I was outside during COVID because it was kind of peace, like not seeing as much people on the road, not as much people outside. Like, it just makes you think about how society used to be. Like, and that's what I hate about society. Like, I think humans fucked up the moment we became like civilized within like tribes, like, or even like connecting other countries. Like, I feel like our priorities were more aligned before we had so many advancements technologically and things like that. But all those things benefited us. It was crazy. So
yeah, pretty interesting. I would say like a lot of things with like my dad, he can't sit still really. So during COVID, he'd always like he'd be the one to go to get our groceries. Like, he'd be the one to do whatever. Like, if we needed something done outside, he would go do it because he needed to get out. He can't like sit still. So, but he said the same thing. He was like, it's funny, like, there's no traffic, And I'm walking, he's like, and I'm going through the store, and there's about 3 people in here with me, 2 workers. And he's like, it's just, like, very peaceful. It's like, it feels like it should be that way, which is fascinating. And you want to know why it feels that way? At least to me. We live in, like, cities, or there's no one. You're the only person. I got 36 square acres in my backyard.
Literally.
Like, and that's, like, sick. But, like, there's not enough people where you are. And then there's 3,600 tenants in my apartment. There's 3,600 you in this much space.
Yeah.
That's not good either. So if we all had our own if we spaced ourselves out properly amongst this beautiful country we have, then, like, maybe we'd be in a lot better shape. Maybe that's the amount of people you're supposed to have per capita. It shouldn't be these big cities or, like, these massive ranges. Like,
literally.
Probably, like, there should be probably more space, even in these suburbs. Like, we live in Medford. I lived in Medford. You from Medford, too? Where you from? Malden. Same shit. So, like, it's all the same. But, like, that's too many people, too. There's still someone right to your right to your left. Your shoulders are tucked. You need space. You need a yard. I want to see some green.
Especially.
I love grass.
I lived all over Mass type shit. I didn't move to Medford till my junior year of high school. Before that, I lived in Brockton.
Were you around, though? Like, or did you really only, like...
I mean, because my pops used to live in Medford, and I've always, like... Right. Tevin is my cousin, so I used to always come out and
that's
see him.
That's your cousin?
Yeah,
what
that's my cousin, yeah. Like, crazy thing is, like...
You guys live together?
Yeah, high school, junior year, yeah. I moved in with my cousins.
That makes sense.
Before that, I lived in Brockton. Before that, I lived in Marlboro. Before that, I lived in Waltham. Before that, I lived in Dorchester. I really, like, that's also why I feel like I'm so good at networking. I've met a lot of people, like, a lot of different experiences.
A lot of restarts.
Yeah. And I hated it, like, all them restarts, but it made me who I am, like, gave me the opportunities I have now today. And I don't know, like, seeing how all these cities are so different. Like, I've seen poorer cities, richer cities. I've lived in, like, both. There's been times, like, I lived in a nice house, but I wasn't coming from the most wealth. There's been times I lived in the ugliest house, and we could have the most money on the block. Like,
there's sometimes you gotta have Tevin sleeping in the room next to you, and you're like, "Where's the food at? How do you feed Tevin?" I was thinking about that, like, with my friends, honestly, because all my friends, like, a lot of people that are here, like, they're from Medford. They know Tevin. You know Tevin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking. How could you miss him?
Yeah.
He's just like. I just imagine, because he's always been this big. Like, always been that big since he was a kid. Like, how do you feed this kid? How do you clothe him? Like, how do you do this?
Crazy thing is, like, so you know Donovan too, right?
Of course.
Yeah, that's our other cousin too. Yeah. So, like, if you think about it, it's a house
He's
full
a beast.
Yeah, there's a house full of, like, 6'4", 6'6" grown men. Even Tevin's little brother is now, like, probably, like, 6'3", 6'4", whatever.
Right.
Like.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like, he got big too. Like, I don't know how tall he is, to be honest, but I know, like.
He big now.
It was a lot of men in that house.
For real.
A lot of men in that house. Like,
Oh my
all
God.
of us taller than our parents. It's like crazy to think about how they were able to feed us so well. Like,
I'm just saying, like, yo, like, fucking, there's no way. Because I think of how much I eat. Like, honestly, you guys would be fucking shocked if you saw the food. Like, I go to the dining hall in Lowell sometimes. It's only $10 to get in. And, like, I only go there if I'm fucking starving. Because I know there's nothing in my house that could really feed me properly. If I go out to eat, I'm spending 30 bills. I ain't doing that. So I need to go to the dining hall. I'll go to the dining hall. I'll get, like, 2 slices of pizza, a burger, a chicken sandwich, French fries. We'll get, like, a little thing of yogurt so I can feel good about myself. Whatever they got, like, the True Balance. It'll be, like, some meat and rice. And then they'll have a little sauce. Like, not sauce. Like, soup. Like, pasta type shit. I'll eat all that, and then on the way out, I'm grabbing an ice cream.
I mean, I'm not into desserts, but I definitely can eat for sure. Like, as skinny as I am, it's most definitely because
Nah, it makes sense. People built like you can eat. Have you noticed that in your life?
Yeah,
like,
I've noticed that.
Like 6'2", like
pretty skinny.
Like you know, once you get to this age, it's like man skinny. So it's like it's not even skinny, it's thin. Like, you're slim now.
I'm at the age where I'm like, yo, I kind of want to watch my weight because I see once you hit that like 24, 25, there's no return on that. Like,
nah, for real. I was looking at myself in the mirror today and I was like, listen, I feel like I started going to the gym like a year ago, and I look better than I've ever looked in my life by far. But it's like, I was looking now and I was looking the other day and I was like, hold up, like I ate a little bit more this past 2 weeks, and I went to the gym a little less, and I can literally see it. That's never how it was. First, like, 18 years of your life.
Literally.
Didn't fucking matter. You could do whatever the hell you wanted. I went to Wendy's every day.
Literally, I used to work at Wendy's too.
You used to work at Wendy's?
The one right at the balded Bedford
dude, literally. You know how many times you probably handed food to me outside that window?
I remember handing it to like a bunch of high school. I used to tell people in the group chats like, yo, you want free food? Come, I got you.
No,
like, whatever.
Bruh. I should have been. We should have been friends in high school.
No, like,
I would have got free Wendy's.
That's
a link. That's a connection right there.
That was like a little bit of junior year, senior year. And then I went into the move-in, but that was nice. Like, I gained a healthy amount of weight.
Now, you left at a good time, though, because it started to smell like shit in there.
Yeah, they changed up the whole staff and everything.
And whoever works there now smells like shit.
So, yeah.
I'm telling you. I don't go to that Wendy's no more.
I don't even eat fast food anymore, to be real. Like,
you're out on the fast food.
Not
dude,
for real. Like,
how do you do it?
I got to be 2 a.m. drunk to eat fast food.
So, like, I only has 3 times a week, so.
Yeah. I mean, just the weekends. Well, honestly, I'm getting to the aspect of life, like, why should I wait till I'm older to promote better health, like a better way of living? Like,
it's true.
Why would I wait till I'm 40 to be like, yo, I should start eating home cooked meals more often than eating out? Like, and the way I think is like, yo, if you're my age or you're in high school, you're spending $30-$40 a day just buying weed alone, like.
That's dude.
Just weed. And how are you really funding it? Like, if you think about it, like.
That's what I wonder.
Like,
listen, I've never purchased weed in my life. Imagine how much money you'd save. Just imagine, like, even today.
Probably like 50,000.
50,000.
I probably spent like over my course of life so far. I probably spent like 50,000-60,000 on some weed.
So that's the thing. Like, I just straight up haven't done that. So it kind of, I guess, in a way, it kind of just made me a little not lazy, but like, I didn't have to like. Everyone else was like getting these jobs and working so much, and I was like, why are you guys working so much? Like, it didn't really hit me until like maybe like senior year, and I was like, oh wait a second, junior year. I was like, wait a second, these guys need to buy probably $40 a week, $40 of weed a week, and then about $20 in alcohol.
Exactly.
And then Uber,
food,
$20-$40 food, like when they're drunk at 2 a.m. Whereas me, you know, I'm paying for gas and then to and from practice,
literally,
and dropping Tevin off. That's about it. And it takes having Tevin in your whip. It makes the gas run a little.
Exactly. It doesn't understand that size. You're slowing down the car. But
you want to hear something funny? Actually, my car is low, and it's not a low rider. It's disgusting. It's a Toyota Corolla. It's a brown Toyota Corolla, 2002. And I was sitting in the driver's side, and there was a couple of my small teammates got in on the back right side of our whip, and I weighed it down a little bit, then they weighed it back, and then Tevin decides to get into my side on the back seat My door was open. He sat down. My door hit the fucking ground. and I didn't even like tell him. I just kind of like yanked it loose. And I kind of had to wiggle right to like give the car a little momentum so it would close. I didn't even let him know. I feel like honestly I'm kind of exposing Tevin.
Actually, I got a memory for Tevin. When I had the Mercedes, he broke my seat, the passenger seat. It's not because he's like exceptionally large or anything. Like he's a pretty fit person for his size.
Nowadays he looks real good.
Yeah, he's really in shape. But like I don't know how he did it. Like it was like a 2011 Mercedes, whatever. If you know like the electrical seats, I guess it might have been his weight or something just broke the thing. So he moved the seat all the way up, and it just never went back after that. Like
he moved it all the way up.
Like. Because we had mad people in my car at the time, like Donovan, like a bunch of other people.
All the big dudes.
Yeah.
These big motherfuckers.
And it just never went back after that.
So you played football, right?
Yeah.
Did you play both years?
Or just senior year?
Just senior year. I wanted to play football so bad. I would have got cracked though, but I got grit though. I would have been nice.
I've played football my whole life, to be real. Like Pop Warner and shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Like, cause before Tevin ever even played football, he used to come watch me and my older brother at the like Pop Warner games and stuff. I played freshman, sophomore year. Like the only time I didn't play was junior year. Like that was the only time I didn't do any sports or whatever.
You were transferring in though, right?
Yeah, so, I came in like a little bit late.
So I mean, probably just getting yourself acclimated. That makes sense. You played hoop.
Yeah.
Did you play all high school or just a little bit?
Just a little bit until like junior year.
Are you a twin?
Nah.
I feel like I played these because I played Malden obviously. And I feel like I remember. Maybe I did play you.
Nah.
I look familiar to you.
BC High.
BC High.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's these twins on Malden. Now it all makes sense. Because the twins on Malden that don't look like you. Like you're in better shape than these people, but you never know what someone could have changed. Like they had different hair, about your height though, and like they kind of look like it. But like they had like different hair. Like the hair was up. But like you're a haircut and like 50 pounds heavier away from being those kids. So, like, that's
even to think about the last time you seen me, I probably didn't look the same at all.
Your hair was different. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but I feel like commenting on the hair is a very, like, white thing to do. So
nah.
I refuse to do that.
I love when people notice, like, I got dreads now.
I know. It looks good. I noticed the hair right away. Honestly, that was one of the first things I was going to start the podcast and be like, hey, we got a new cut. But I feel like it's just, like, a thing. Like, you can't... I don't like to comment on, like black people's hair.
I mean...
Because it's just like, because then there's like, you know that thing? That like thing? It's like yo,
especially when like people be like, oh, yo, let me touch like your hair, see what it feels like.
Bro.
But I like, maybe in the past it used to get me annoyed or whatever, but now I understand like people just don't share the same experience.
And straight up don't have that hair. You know?
Yeah, like
I straight up don't have
I wake up every day with this type of hair. Somebody wakes up every day with like silky, different, smooth hair.
Or whatever the fuck this is going on in my head. And...
Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes just society's too harsh on shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
you see what Jimmy Butler did at Media Day?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
He put in those locks, those extensions, which is hilarious because that's Media Day. So it's the only picture they have officially of him. They use that picture for all the promotional material. He has it. And then on his fantasy basketball, his picture, he's got it. It's the fucking funniest thing I've ever seen. It was ugly as fuck. But he knew that. He was doing it on purpose.
Yeah, he ended up taking it out?
Yeah, took it out. A day later.
I didn't even know.
Mad funny, dude. You guys follow any hoop?
I mean, not as much as I used to. Like, I haven't been following sports. I'm literally business mode right now.
Networking. If it ain't about networking, you ain't doing
it. Literally. If it's not about giving me the right steps for my future,
this is where you lose Abe here. This is where you're losing him. He's shaking his head. No, he's like, if I ain't watching all the games.
Literally, probably. That's how he be.
You watching all the games?
Nah, I watch
Celtics
highlights
fan?
when I can. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big team person. I'm more like a player person. But obviously, I like
player?
the Celtics. My favorite one all time, LeBron.
Okay.
Kevin Durant's better.
Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
You're a KD guy?
Yeah. Even though he's slimy and shiesty, he's better.
Nah, but I mean, if we're talking about basketball overall, like all aspects, he has no defense. Like,
that's debatable.
I mean, he has defense for someone who's 6'11", but like obviously he just like puts his arms up. But
he's a better scorer than LeBron, in my opinion.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just talking about all around.
All around. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of LeBron meat riding, to be real. Like,
well, the issue with LeBron is, he passes really well, which makes people think like, oh, he's just like the perfect player. Like if you can pass and score, it's just like, oh, like you're doing everything. And he plays good defense too.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's great IQ. He can pass. He's great at everything. It's true, but like it's not like his dribbling is bad.
Yeah, he ain't got no.
He got no
tools
bag.
in the bag.
Mm-hmm. There's no bag.
He's rushed him. He's like 40.
Nah,
he's
even when he was young, bro. Even when he was young, he had no dribble skills.
It was this.
Literally,
it was
like
shoulders.
So,
Listen,
I feel like once he got to Miami, he lost that. But I feel like his rookie,
even
early
his
years
rookie,
in Cleveland,
he
was smooth.
He was just fast. He was the most athletic person on the court.
And
I think
most athletic person on the planet.
Yeah, and I think Giannis, if he gets any more rings, he's gonna like
eclipse LeBron.
Yeah.
Impossible.
I'm sorry, Giannis is way more gifted than LeBron.
You mean like physically?
Physically, athletically, like, bro.
Like, athletically is debatable. I mean, he's taller and he doesn't really jump that much higher. I mean, than LeBron at his peak, I doubt it.
LeBron at his peak is a fucking freak, dude.
He was a freak.
It's like, you ever seen that video of him catching that alley-oop when he was on the Cavs? You know, like the blue and
jersey, blue and
he jumps up to get it.
Man,
the crowd's faces, they're all like, it's almost like they're looking at something fake. What happened, this is funny because something like this happened to me in a basketball game. So, I was a defender. I would just defend everybody. That's like, you put me on the best guy or second best guy, typically. Didn't matter the position. So, this guy was like a forward. It kind of looked like a lot like you, 6'1", like, a good athlete. He was just like, but like lanky, but like he was obviously good. And he was strong too, even though he was like lanky, he was strong. I remember, so I had to go, I was pressing up on him, and they're inbounding the ball from the sideline, they're on offense. And the kid like had someone, like one of our guys in his face, kind of like making sure he couldn't get the ball, and he was just looking, didn't know what to do, saw the best player, throws it, it goes up, it keeps going up, and I was like, oh, that's way out, like, no one's going to catch that. And then, like, this dude's, like, balls were, like, at my fucking forehead. He was so high in the air, and his knee was, like, here. I didn't know you could jump that high. Like, he was, like, just kept going, too. Caught it with one hand, palmed it, and then brought it back down, like, right down here, like, right at the half-court line. And I didn't really know what was happening at the time, because, like, I was just guarding him. I was too busy. I was too locked in. When we got to film the next day, like, I could see everyone on the bench was, like jumped. Like, our coach was like, like, he was, like, everyone just looked like I was about to get cooked. I did get cooked. But then, I'm watching it, and he's just, like, these people that are, like, really gifted athletically, he's jumping high. Like, how do you make up for that? Like, I was never born being able to jump that high. I dunked, like, one ball in my life. But, like, but my legs are bigger than these people. Like, he's a thin guy. Is it you're just born with that?
No, I think you can be born with certain gifts, but if you never put in the hard work, you'll never really get to the max potential of them gifts. And you could be born with no gifts, and you could be like Jimmy Butler, for example.
Right. He sucked.
He literally knew he was never the best or whatever, but he always said he was gonna be the hardest worker. Like, and he worked to get to the league. Like, for real. Like, I remember when he was on the Bulls. And
in the way beginning.
Yeah,
bench guy.
Exactly.
D-Rose time.
And then he ended up bringing the Heat to the finals, whatever. Like, it's crazy to think about.
I would have never thought that would happen. It's kind of like if, like, fucking, I don't even know, like, I mean, Jaylen Brown's kind of had that type of ascent in a lot of ways. Like, remember his rookie year, drafted third, true, but he was just kind of like a guy, you know? Like, he was just kind of like a good athlete, like, could defend, wasn't really shooting much.
Honestly, I think him and JT are on the same
level.
And I feel like he just gets caught behind JT's limelight a lot. I feel like they just made him the face of the Celtics, but it could also be JB.
Yeah, I mean, hey, because the thing is, people are like, oh, well, Jason Tatum hits those clutch shots at the end. I'm like, well, they're giving it to him.
Literally.
If Byron had the ball, he'd probably hit the same volume of clutch shots. If anything, I think he could probably hit more because he's a better shot creator.
Mm-hmm.
People don't realize this. Like, I mean, Tatum can, for a three, I guess Tatum's sidestep's kind of ridiculous. But for a mid-range, like, if you just need a point, you need points.
You could give it to JB.
I think Brown's more likely to get you points on a possession basis because he can pull up that mid-range and, like, he gets so much space on it. But he can also get to the hoop, and he goes in hard. Like, Tatum flails and shit.
You know what this makes me think about? That Jaylen Brown, Blake Griffin during the playoff series when they were kind of had that little one-on-one.
Oh,
like,
my God, that was ridiculous.
JB was going
off, cooking him.
Like,
he was
hitting them threes, that he drove in on him, then he hit him with the midi, like...
No.
I mean, he did pass it to JT, but JT was just in the corner, like, putting up them threes. Like, that's him getting his points, you feel me? But, like, JV was really leading the offense, like taking it up the court, making things happen. You feel me? Like I feel like he doesn't get enough credit for it.
He don't. I think, and also what they both have. I wish that they were a little different. They're so similar in like maybe not style of how they do it, but their box score looks the same. It's like a lot of points, good amount of rebounds. Tatum gets a little more rebounds, and then like 3 assists, 4 assists apiece. I wish that, and then like also like 2-3 turnovers apiece for both of them. I wish that one of them was like really good with the ball, like really good ball security, good distributor, and averaged like 20 points instead of them being legit the same exact player, just like copy and paste with like with like 2 inches less and more athleticism. I think that kind of bothers me, but okay, so right now, how long do you think we've been going for?
Like an hour.
Hour 15. It's been an hour 15. This is usually around the time I wrap.
Yeah, that's fine.
I wrap up. But I will say, like, since you've had a lot of insight today, Jay, what is something that you would like to say to people? Like,
if you're watching this, you're sitting on your ass, why don't you come in here, talk about yourself, and talk about your experiences? And if you don't want to do it, find somebody that will. It's always good to hear how other people live and what they've been through and some of the faults they might have had and some of the successes they might have had.
Right. You got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, if you're watching this and you're kind of stuck, I definitely say look into self-development and just always being someone who's learning. Always be a student of everything, you know? And always I also recommend looking into the ways of the Stoicism as just like an approach to life. It's like a philosophy. And then also if you're interested in becoming your own bank and learning how you can really leverage and become more financially stable, you can hit me up on IG at ovo.abe or call me at like 617-407-9989.
Hit the kid up. That's self-endorsement right there.
Oh, and I also recommend the Year Up program for anybody that wants to develop themselves professionally. Like, talk about business etiquette, project management, IT skills, whatever. Like, if you just want a different experience and don't want to work that minimum wage job for the rest of your life, join the program. It's only a year.
Amazing. How was y'all experience on the DOD-Cast?
I enjoyed it a lot. It was a nice experience. I would recommend anybody to come on here, give my boy some content.
Right, dude. Nice to come here and kick it, smoke a little bit of weed, and then it's a simple time. It's a lot of fun. I had a ball. Jay, my man. Yeah, you're good, brother.
I seen you.